fans, and welcome. It's Sunday night here on VirtualRacing.Network, and you know what that means. It's time for the Icon Cup Series, and we kick off our week of action starting here tonight at Watkins Glen International. It's race number 7 of the Icon Cup Series, and we're right here at the road course in the Cup configuration. We'll be doing 45 laps around tonight. It's 2.45 mile circuit, and of course, there will actually be tonight a stage caution, a little bit different than we have been seeing here on road courses on VirtualRacing.Network. But this is awesome because even though tonight we're not going to be here with Christian Snyder as my co-host, Trevor Greenfield, here in the booth, am going to be joined by none other than Nick Geilis. Very familiar to those of you who are in the NORA Series family. Race winner, playoff-bound driver, and certainly great to have somebody with his fantastic expertise to guide us all around here in the Watkins Glen International Circuit. So, Nick, welcome to the broadcast, and what can we expect here at Watkins Glen as these drivers start heading out there for their qualifying session?
Well, thanks for having me, and I think what we can expect here tonight is a little bit on-edge setup is from what I've heard from a handful of the drivers, and a little bit of the test driving I was able to do myself. The car seems to be a little bit on edge, and that could make for some good action. I do think it's going to be good, hard-fought racing, side-by-side, beating and banging, classic NASCAR road course racing. And I think it's going to put on a great show. It's Watkins Glen. Best road course we have.
Well, of course, we saw some great stuff here in real life. The Xfinity battle going down to the very final lap, and that was some really exciting stuff. Tonight, of course, 113 degrees Fahrenheit on the track, so pretty warm. Not much of a breeze out there, 57% humidity. So these drivers may have some serious tire degradation, but of course they'll just be trying to get through that first stint. So actually they're just finishing up their practice sessions out there now, so that'll give us a chance to go ahead and look in on the points as they stand. So here in the Icon Cup Series right now, if we can get these points up here for us, be able to take a look at how the driver standings are. Of course, this last time out, it was, of course, Brian Smith taking the victory, and that will put him into the playoffs. We're just waiting for the driver's points to come up here on the screen. There we go. Never know which button is going to finally make it come up. There we go. Ryan Patty in that race winning scenario, and therefore into the playoffs. You see Brian Smith has joined him, Nathan Finnegan as well, and of course Brian Smith had already won earlier in the season, so he was already guaranteed in. Scott Patton, part of that club that will be in the playoffs at the end of the season. And then you see the rest that are there just on points. In fact, I have a feeling that this isn't quite the newest one, but Ronnie Norman is actually up into 5th here in the points, heading in. Tim Harper in. Cody Height, actually, even though this graphic is showing incorrectly there, it does appear as though Cody Height is actually on the outside looking in. And Cody Height, for those of you in the NORA family, or those of you that watch our NORA broadcast, Cody Height took a win at Mid-Ohio earlier this season, and so he certainly knows his way around the road courses. And we also have another interesting note as we'll take a look in here at a couple of our new drivers as soon as they pop out there on the track. Sort of looking for them at the moment here, but not seeing that either one has popped out there for their qualifying lap. It's actually Josh Conover now joining the group of NORA drivers that have joined the Icon Cup Series, and it's great to see this continued group of drivers that have come over and seen how great the racing is here in the Icon Cup Series. And so Josh, for those of you unfamiliar, multiple race-winning driver this season over in NORA Trucks and NORA Cup. and also runs the whole Nora shebang, the whole show over there. He's kind of the Ryan Patty of the Nora series. And to have a driver of his caliber, I should also point out regular season Nora Truck Series champion as well. So to have a driver of his caliber joining the field is pretty awesome here. But of course, this field was already stacked to begin with. And then we take a look over here at Brady Motes. He's also driving. He's playoff bound as well in the Nora Cup Series. And just a fantastic driver who last time out was second at the Indianapolis Road Course. So perhaps Brady will have something to say. He started third. And so, Nick, why don't you go ahead and take us around while we watch on board with Brady here, which came through corner number 1. What can we do here at Watkins Glen?
So as you go up the S's, you kind of want to play with the throttle a little. Make sure you're not putting in too much to slide out here on the exit and hit that wall. But you're full throttle now here through 4th gear, potentially into 5th, especially if you're into the draft. And then you're getting hard on the brakes here, trying to put this thing as close to the fence as you can. Hit each and every set of rumble strips to really line that car up through the bus stop, come through the carousel, and try to keep it kind of like a diamond almost in a way. And then just let her drift a little out, coming out of there. Get back hard on it, come down the short chute into turn 6. A nice easy braking zone here. Good chance for an opportunity to overtake as you make that left-hander, and then stay in second. Get the easy right-hander as you go down the right-hand side to go onto pit road. Stay on the left-hand side to come down this start-finish straight and complete your lap.
So pretty good right out of the box there. 4th fastest for Brady Motes. Doesn't look like Josh Conover got in a clean lap on that first lap. That's a great description of Watkins Glen. I know we were just talking ahead of time, Nick. You love this track. We both are equal lovers of running here at Watkins Glen. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I grew up as a Jeff Gordon fan, so my love of road courses is a little biased. I very much love road courses, and then of course becoming a Chase Elliott fan, it's just like, yes, we added more road courses. I want more. Well, but these are great cars on road courses. They do drive a bit more like a GT car than they do the older NASCARs, and some people don't entirely like that, but they do produce some good racing at road courses. And road course racing is fun. It's different. It's, we don't do it every week in the U.S. in NASCAR.
It's very true, and a lot of people see it as a specialty, something that you really have to have dedication to learn how to do. Certainly, I've seen the share of oval racers that try on road course racing, and it's not for them, but many of them try it on, and they're like, hey, this is actually a lot of fun over here. I really do enjoy getting a chance to head out there and turn right and left and brake and go through all of the motions. But you definitely have your oval specialists, you've got your road course specialists, you got those who do both. And it seems like the newer generations of drivers coming up through the real series, maybe it's just that they're spending more time on the simulators. Maybe it's that, it makes sense with more road courses on the schedule. But they do seem more open to running the road courses out there, and it just seems like in general the real life racers seem to be more adept at running road courses. So it's fun to see. But of course, here on iRacing, you run as many different types of racing as you want, and we're going to get a chance to see a lot of these great drivers here for the very first time challenging a road course. Brian Smith so far at the top of the charts, no surprise there. He's won last week. He's picking up where he left off. You see Justin Michael into second place for Average Joe Motorsports. Vincent Lauria right now on your screen. He was 3rd fastest on his first lap. He's going well off the track. Is that going to be considered an off track? Is there an off track in that corner?
I don't believe there's an off track until you get to the grass. Now, I'm not sure if he touched the grass, which I believe is an off track, but I don't think there's an off track for going that wide through that corner. I know there is in turn 1, but that corner seems to be where they kind of let you go out there. They know it's a NASCAR corner, and they know what they do.
For sure.
So.
Well, and you would think Vincent Loria would be well aware of how far he can drift that car out there. Either way, only good enough for third fastest, but he'll be right on the second row, and he gets it sideways there on his cool down lap and puts it into the wall, but that's okay. Instant repairs here in iRacing. It'd be unfortunate if we were going to be going into the race in less than 5 minutes with getting damage in qualifying. If this were real life.
That wouldn't be fun. Or the aforementioned so many times by people in the forums. What if we got billed for all of our incidents?
I
don't need that bill.
I tell you what, I have given it great thought. Well, I mean, in a way, wouldn't it be fun? Like,
yes, but I don't need that bill.
Right. No, I don't mean like real money, but it would be interesting if somehow there was like some virtual currency or something you used that you acquired through clean racing or finish as well or something like that you then have to use that. But that's sort of what safety rating is for anyway in iRacing. But either way, you could run a league like that sometime where you give like currency, but if you get into a crash, it's like rated in dollar amounts that you have to
very interesting bringing that up. I'm going to give a shout out to an old buddy, Anthony Thitchner, who ran ECR, and that was very much the system that ECR had back in the day.
Oh wow!
There's a lot of the NORA guys that'll remember ECR and that kind of money system for the way that it worked, and there's a lot of us that very much enjoyed that. We thought it was a really cool system. It's difficult to do as a league owner, from everything that I've heard about it and the way that the money system works, because they did payouts for where you finished in the race, and you had the entry fee into the race for each car that you entered, and it was a fun system, and from what I remember, everybody seemed to enjoy it on it making the league have a special aspect to it that was a lot of fun, but that league had its issues over time, and it's no longer around. And we ended up with NORA basically because of it. That league kind of going away. People split off and went and did their own things, but there's such a good contingent of the guys that are in there that you can trace back to ECR. You can ask Christian about it. He actually broadcasted a handful of races in ECR as well. So I really couldn't tell you how many of us that you can tie back into that series, but it's kind of like the precursor for a lot of us.
I mean, I certainly didn't think my idea would be so bad that it would end up in the ruination of a league and forcing everybody to skip over to another league.
Well, I wouldn't say it ruined the league. That system wasn't what ruined the league. There were other things in play. That system never had anything to do with the league going away. There were other problems that occurred there, but the system itself was well loved.
Gotcha. Well, we're just seeing qualifying finishing here, so we'll go ahead and get the final results up here on the screen for you. We'll set the grid for tonight's round number 7 of the Icon Cup Series from Watkins Glen International. Looks like we're going to be doing the full pace lap here, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. Let's get that qualifying order up there on the screen. Starting on pole position will be Brian Smith. It's no surprise, last week's winner. He's won 2 races already. He's frequently one of the fastest drivers in the field, and here he does it on a road course as well. Congratulations to him, the 110.948. And next to him will be Justin Michael of Average Joe Motorsports. Fantastic run from him. And going to be starting in the second row, Vincent Loria. I see that Vincent already has his fan, Anthony Zoe. Can be interesting, but Loria has it. He says that's over in our YouTube chat. Welcome to everybody who's watching us live over in VirtualRacing.Network's YouTube channel. Look forward to chatting with all of you tonight. Brady Moats will be starting next to him for Ready to Wreck Racing. Once again, Brady Moats and Josh Conover making their debut here in the Icon Cup Series, and great to see them. So going to be starting next to, actually on the third row, will be Brendan Jenks for Full Send Esports. So somewhere out there, Christian watching on, congratulations to him. Alongside him will be Jovi Ray, who's independent in the field, but he's already taken a win here, so keep your eye on him. Brendan Jenks going to be starting, actually we already covered Brendan, somehow he's kind of fallen back there, but Cody Neal will be starting in 7th place, and next to him will be Ryan Patty. Cody Height in 9th, and next to him, Ronnie Norman. Nathan Finnegan going to be starting back in 11th place. He's also one of the winners here. Next to him, Adam Ball. So this driver's definitely out of order as they get up to speed here. And starting in 13th place will be Brennan Gregg. Next to him, Justin Bissonette. Mike Jennings will be alongside Tim Harper. And Anthony Campbell alongside of Sean Purcell. Brock Hersey, 19th place, starting next to Tanner Dio. 21st will belong to Josh Conover, as he was not able to get in a clean lap and set a time. Next to Cody Eldred and Kyle Gilbert and Hanover Fist. Going to be starting side by side on the last row. Hanover Fist actually is starting for TDA Motorsport here tonight, so that's another change in the field. We go back to the front, and this is where it's going to be starting. And Nick, what's it like right now? You're out there, you're on you're on the pace lap, the butterflies are starting. How do you stay focused? How do you, is there something that you do in particular to try to, stay focused on what you got to do through the race? You got to get up to race speed here very quickly.
Yeah, so, my ADHD self is always going nuts the entire race. But I like to put on my Spotify and just try to help me focus. Each driver is the same. I have a whole routine leading up to the race, and if I don't knock it out right in order, sometimes I feel off for the whole night. But I know for here, you are just praying you are not wheel hopping into turn 1 and doing a Sam Mayer to Ty Gibbs to the car in front of you.
Well, we'll hope for that doesn't happen, but we do have an incident already, as I'm not sure who that was, but somebody...
I believe it was Vincent. Vincent was sideways.
Well, we had Patty and now the 67 of Vincent Loria, and you're absolutely right. I believe Vincent Loria got sideways off of the start, and he ended up catching somebody, but we stay green here, just local cautions until we get to that stage caution. Brian Smith in the lead, Justin Michael in second. We'll go back to that replay of the start here momentarily, but that was something else. That is not the way you want to get going in one of these things.
No, it is not. I want to say I think he might have gotten help, but there's also the chance that it was just cold tires and he spun them.
Well, Cody Neal moving up 3 spots on that start. Cody Height getting 4 spots on that start. So, as I said, watch out for Cody Height. He already took that win at Mid-Ohio in Nora, and he very well could be feeling it here as he also has some additional inspiration. He wants to get up there and get up into the points and be in the playoffs for the end of this one. So let's go back and watch the start once again. This is going to be from the green flag, and we'll see what happened here as Loria was coming around on this start. Perhaps if we jump up above, we can see, did he get help from the 38? Should be Brendan Jenks from Full Send. And no, it's Loria. No, it just gets loose.
He just spins the tires. And that's a product of road racing. So the tires on the roadside tend to be really cold, and if you don't heat them up enough on the start, and that was something that I ran into at Indianapolis, I didn't heat tires up enough, and as you guys saw, I spun out as we were coming to take the green, and so yeah, it's just one of those things where if you don't get those tires heated up enough, you can absolutely spin it when you go to lay the hammer down.
Well, unfortunately, we're also seeing that one of the other very popular drivers is out of this race, Anthony Campbell, who had a moment, and we'll take a look at that as it is mentioned, pulling for the number 73, Dopey checking in, Michael Burgess checking in, but I think Anthony Campbell had a moment here. Let's jump back just a moment here, and we'll see this one. This was coming through turn number 1. I believe this was on the first lap and heading up towards the S's. He just gets it wrong coming through the corner, hooks the tire, and comes back across the track.
And so I think that's, again, a little bit on the product of the cold tires. And then also getting off the primary racing line into a corner like that. The S's are a set of corners that you really do not want to be off the primary line. That is not going to provide you with a fun time, and you get off that primary line and add in having cold tires, it's going to be a handful.
So even though the track above 113, that not being good enough to get these tires up to temp, and you've got to nurse them up to speed, it would seem. And it looks like Brian Smith able to do exactly that. He's out in front with no problems whatsoever. Just a moment ago, Justin Michael was right behind. Looked like he might make an attempt to try to pass Smith there, but he's since fallen back a couple of car lengths. So watch them come up here and go through this. They call it a bus stop in different series. It has a lot of different types of names, but either way, you've got to really use a lot of that curbing on entry. Can upset the car very dramatically. It certainly could carry you off track. We'll take a look back here in third place, though. There is newcomer Brady Motes, who's having a great run right now.
Yeah, Brady's a very talented road trip racer. We were looking to have him in for the 24 hours back early in January, and he couldn't make it, which ended up with us having Vincent in the car, which worked out well for us. But absolutely, we wanted Brady in the car because he's a talented road course racer and can get this job done. He's got all the skills needed to go and win a road course race, and I think he can do it tonight. Will he be able to? Time will tell, but I definitely believe he has the talent and the skills to do it.
Well, he's taking them on right now. He's fallen a little bit back from the front couple of drivers, but still staying in close proximity. We watch on last lap, Justin Michael with the fastest lap of the race of 111.29. So he's still trying to close in on Brian Smith up in front. He hasn't given up yet, but of course they do have to get through this entire first stage before, or at least through their first stint before coming in and getting new tires. So you do have to really manage these tires. And let's see, I'm trying to see exactly what was announced earlier for the lap. I think it's 25 laps on a fuel run, and then the end of lap 14, as you said. So it's very likely that these drivers, some of them will choose to come in and hit and take new tires on 14. Some of them will stay out there and try and get to the end of stage number 1 and take the maximum amount of points by holding on to that position. So we'll see who chooses what, but either way, I'm sure these drivers have already started to try to make that choice. And seeing that Jovi Ray was also taken out in that lap 1 incident, which is unfortunate to lose him. He's also shown that he's very talented on the road courses, doing quite well at Mid-Ohio earlier in the season in Nora as well. So looking back through the field, Cody Neal right now running in 4th place. He's up three places. Brendan Jinks still holding on to 5th, but you see Nathan Finnegan starting to close in here. This is for 5th place. Finnegan now really tracking on the backside of Neal. I'm sorry, of Jinks. And he pulls it down to the inside. I'm wondering if he's going to try to make a move here as they go past the start-finish stripe and into turn
He's
one.
looking for it. Yep. He's going to send the dive in there. A little bit of a lockup, and he's going to slide job right on through, and Jenks is able to get back by on the inside. So that is the risk you run by trying to dive it in there, is overdriving the corner, getting heavy on the brakes, flat spotting that tire, and just sliding out wide and giving the position right back anyway.
Yeah, well, Jenks did a great job of recovering, getting that position back, but it looks like he kind of pulled out wide there through the S's, and I don't know if he's got an issue or what, but he definitely let the faster Finnegan go through. So Jenks now back into the 6th spot, and look who's right behind him. Here comes Cody Height, up 2 positions, and now looking for potentially going after his one of his Nora rivals, Brendan Jenks.
So we'll see if he can get that job done. He needs a good point stay here today, so not too much heroics here. Just try to keep the car clean. Obviously, if he can get 2 positions, he's looking at stage points. So there's some prerogative to get a little aggressive here and try to get past these 2 cars. But he's doing a good job so far, and Cody's another one of those sneaky good road course racers.
He really is, and he's very coy about it. Being honest, he's just as surprised, I think, as anyone else that he's as fast as he is on the road courses. I don't think he really expected it, but just a very talented driver overall. And as we watch on here, I think maybe we're going to get a chance to see him make this move on Brendan Jenks. So we'll keep it on this battle at the moment. Looking up front, still holding about the same. Brian Smith, Justin Michael, Brady Motes, and Cody Neal, Nathan Finnegan, now your top 5, with this battle going on for 6th place. As Cody Height on YouTube, as he's known. Those of you who aren't already subscribed to Cody Height on YouTube, you might want to do that. He posts all kinds of great NASCAR trucks and cup racing content on there. Lots of official stuff that he does as well, so always fun to check that out. Tim Harper, who's also, well, he was in the field, but he's currently shown out at the moment, or at least in the pits. So Tim Harper also running over on Twitch, so that is something to check out. Let's we'll keep an eye on this battle here. Cody Height gets very close to the back of Brendan Jenks. We might see another send as we get up here to the end of this straightaway.
I will say that you can just kind of see it in the background of that shot there. There is a massive 4-car battle going on for 10th places. Cody sends it in a little too hard and ends up sliding through on the grass on the opposite end of the bus stop.
Well, you can see Ronnie Norman closing in, and then Brendan Gregg just behind. Looking back here, this is Justin Bissonette. This is for 10th place. And then right behind, there's Kyle Gilbert for Renville Racing. Josh Conover now racing for Ready to Wreck. And he's managed to come from all the way from 21st place now up into 12th. 9 positions gained for Conover. And he seems like he's just following Kyle Gilbert forward, who's gained 12 positions. So these two, I mean, afterwards, this is the type of performance Conover may want to reach out to Gilbert and be like, hey, buddy, I really enjoyed following you through the field. You've got some skills behind that wheel.
I know Josh, and Josh is never going to be one to push it early. So this is exactly what you're going to see from him, as he's kind of being cerebral, I'll say, about it. Trying to make his way through the field, and he's usually very good about it, and he knows he's got a stage caution coming up in 4 laps, 4 or 5 laps. So why overdo it? You're gonna get another chance at a big stack up of the field. He's been one of the faster cars, and I do think he's got top 6-ish speed somewhere in there. So certainly, I think he wanted a challenge, honestly, because I believe he intentionally invalidated both of his laps, but. We'll see how he does through the rest of this race, because he has been putting on a show back here every time I look over to see what he's doing, and he's been hanging it out in the correct ways to hang it out. It's been a fun time. As looks like he might have a chance here at a dive bomb, but I don't think you'll see him take it.
Well, we'll see whether or not he decides to into turn one. No, he thinks better of it. And we watch on here as it does. Oh, there goes Gilbert. Is he going to try to take that position heading into the S's? He does. He pushes out a little bit wide on Bissonnette.
And this is a spot where Josh could theoretically collect 2 cars if they would have stayed side by side. They would have been really slow through those S's and really given Josh a shot at it. But now just continuing to do his thing and hope for a mistake, really. He'll just drive his line and let you make your own mistakes.
That's generally the good idea, is to just sit back there and let your opponent make a mistake. But sometimes you get up against that really top-tier talent who just doesn't. They just don't, you can't shake them. And here we got some great side-by-side battle. But it does appear as though Gilbert has gotten through. So Gilbert up into that 10th position, with Bissonnette sliding backwards into 11th, and it's now going to take a look down the front straightaway, but I don't think so. I think that position now belongs to Gilbert, driver out of Kentucky. So Conover looks on from behind, and now Bissonnette going out wide there in turn one, but perhaps Conover will have a look. Perhaps Bissonnette going to try to take that position back on Gilbert.
Yeah, and I think you can kind of see how the side-by-side action allows Josh to get really close and have an opportunity at it. As are we going to see a dive into the... No, okay. He does pull it back in. I thought that's a very risky move, trying to make that move into the bus stop as... Oof. Just parks the bus. Yeah.
He definitely
but it looks like
did not nail the end of that chicane. As a result, gave Conover the position. That moves him forward. Here's Justin Michael making an early pit stop here on 13.
So that's, in my mind, has to be a strategy call about when to pit for fuel and where you can make it from on one more to be exactly on point for that, so that you have the least amount of fuel in the car at the end of the race.
Well,
I mean, that's...
Bissonnette making that same decision. Very interesting strategy call here. As we did hear from Patty, I believe he said 25 laps. Yeah, 25 laps on a fuel run. So that would be 30 laps. I'm not the best at math, but it would be 30 laps from here. So he would still be 5 laps short or so. So I'm not quite sure, even with yellows, that might be a problem.
Well, and that might be the call, or the thought process, though, is that with the yellows, they might be able to save enough under caution. I mean, if we do 3 or 4 laps under caution, that's worth a lot of saving in these cars if you can do it right.
It certainly is. And so I do, if I go and I take a look here just a little bit before we get to this stage yellow, as everything else seems to be sorted at the moment, this was what caught out Tim Harper and perhaps required him to retire early. He went way off track there in turn one.
Oof.
And really did a number on that machine.
Yeah, I think you can see that left front tire looked like it was pointed or slanted in the opposite direction.
Indeed.
So opposite camber. That is definitely not what you want on these cars.
Well, an unfortunate end to his race here tonight, and he's decided to pull it in to the pits, and that'll be that. As Brian Smith about to complete his lap. He's owned every single lap at the front of this one so far, and here he comes around to take what will be the caution flag. I believe
there, as Cody and Jenks put on a great battle for the final stage point. Cody really threw a great move through the bus stop to come out on top of that, to really get in position off the carousel, and it he stole a stage point on that last lap.
Absolutely.
I mean, excellent work.
We also have news. We'll take a look at that. This is what we saw here just a moment ago, as it looked like he stalked Jenks through the chicane, and there he stuffs it down the inside in a place where Jenks maybe wasn't necessarily looking for it.
Just a well-timed move by Cody, knowing where to put the car and hoping that the 38 would go wide, and he went very wide, and Cody just put the car there and said, this position's going to be mine, and I'm taking a stage point that I genuinely really need.
Absolutely, he really does. And take a look over here. This was not that long ago. This was coming to the yellow flag, and I'm not sure if this is an accurate note or what, but Sean Purcell.
Ooh, looks like he just
similar
in real hot, yeah.
Similar to Tim Harper, and who knows what that's all about. This was, I have this note from this was just a moment earlier than that. So let's see if we can tell what happens here. He has an off track, it says, before he goes, and this could be his off track here, so probably.
And I'm seeing some damage on the front end of that car already.
Indeed.
I wonder if it's not handling properly as it is. It looks like he's even got the wheel offset to the left going down the straightaway. And coming in at this angle, I think maybe he got on the brakes too late. Doesn't use the gears to downshift. You can actually slow the car down more if you start downshifting under braking in these cars, and really kind of shorten your braking distance in a huge help by doing so. And that you do have to account for the car may want to step out when doing so, but if you can do it without the car stepping out, it's an incredible performance to slow the car down a good bit extra as you're coming to, or trying to slow down for the corner, and it's a big help. And I think carrying through in fourth gear, it didn't help the car slow down much more. That shallow entry really didn't help. I think the damage, there's just a lot that played into that car just going straight on.
Well, as we await these drivers to come into the pits, here is the accurate points. Apologize for the missed graphic earlier. Here you go. This is how they actually are lined up. And as you can see, Tanner Dio, Cody Height, Cody Neal just outside the playoff cutoff zone. Cody Eldred, Harper, Jennings, Ball, Gunther, Dunning, Laria, and Norman going to be getting in on points as it is right now. Smith with now 2 wins. So we watch to see who's going to take advantage of this caution, and we've got quite a few. Brian Smith, Cody Neal, Nathan Finnegan, all these drivers now coming into the pits. Brendan Jenks, part of this group as well. Ronnie Norman, Brendan Gregg. So pretty much everybody else after Justin Michael choosing to come in here, though Cody Height and Brady Moats both sticking it out there. Going to try to hold on to track position. There you see Conover getting out first as well with a 8.5 seconds in the box for Conover, so I'm not even sure if he took tires.
He did not. I can guarantee you right now, he did not. With an 8.2 pit stop or in the box. But I'm going to find it interesting because this is going to be very close on fuel. I'd love to know what their fuel numbers really, like 100% genuinely look like as they're running. Because this is going to be close for the guys that just pitted if they can save before we go back green. The guys that stayed out are 100% going to have to make a pit stop under green. There is no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it. They haven't pit before the stage caution. They didn't pit at it. They will have to pit under the green flag in stage 2. But they'll be guaranteed that they can go to the finish from that point.
Well, let's why don't we bring in somebody who's brand new here and somebody that would be a lot of fun to chat with, I'm sure. And I know Christian would love it if he were here in the booth and he'd get a chance to chat with him. But hey, welcome to the booth here in the Icon Cup Series, Josh Conover. You're having one heck of a run so far here in the Icon Cup Series. What's you took no tires there under the pit stop, and how's it feeling to you? You came forward a whole bunch of positions.
Kind of learning. I hadn't run this combo since the next gen came out, and figured I could use the laps, so I'm not as much of a scrub on Tuesday. But just trying something. I'm obviously not running for points, so figured I'd see what the tire wear is like and how it feels getting back up to speed. Obviously on Tuesday, hopefully we won't have the yellow to worry about, but I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'm just kind of learning and taking notes.
Certainly. Well, Nick Eilis is here in the booth with me, and you're one of those drivers that you're kind of coy on your road course abilities, of kind of like Cody Height out there and Tim Harper, although Tim's out of the race right now. You did quite well at Indianapolis, finishing quite high in the order. What do you think? Is there a chance maybe here tonight? You're out there again in 7th place. Got a top 5 in you?
I don't know. I think if I had, like I said, more laps here, maybe. But like I said, these are my first laps with this car here. I mean, obviously, I love the Glen. That's obviously why I'm here. But like I said, as far as laps with this car and just the configuration and stuff like that, these are my first ones. So we'll see. I think maybe if I get a late restart or something, which I don't think that there are cautions, but if I could somehow get a late restart, maybe. But we'll see.
Well, it's great to hear from you here. You're going to overshoot the chicane. Good for you. But we'll see you there on Tuesday night in the Norris Series, or we'll talk to you here after the race. Good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, I was surprised more people didn't cut that. It's only a slowdown, and we're under yellow, so you don't really lose any time.
There.
But I'll be the oddball for sure.
So that is Josh Conover doing a bang-up job here in his very first race in the Icon Cup Series. And Nick, once again, I mean, if he just stumbles into a top 5, would you be surprised?
No, not at all for Josh. He has a very Alex Bowman way of backing into things.
Well, I'd rather.
But I mean that in a very good way.
I'd rather back into it and get lucky and get a top 5 than race like heck and be super fast and crash out, which tends to be the way that I go. But here we go, about to get this one going again here after our stage caution. Brady Motes for Ready to Wreck Racing takes over the lead. Cody Height in second. They race side by side down to turn number 1. Cody Height falls a little bit behind there. And it's Justin Michael who moves all the way back up into the front. So Cody slipping back into 4th, and now it's Brian Smith and Brady Motes racing it out there in second as they enter the S's.
And this is a hard-fought battle by those guys up front. As Brady manages to hold on to second, he's now got to try to deal with the 87, which obviously has already made his pit stop in this race.
Yeah, the 87 charged forward there. We'll go back and take a look at this restart here in a moment as soon as this settles down. But a number of drivers, we got Ronnie Norman, I think, turned around out here. He manages to get it going together again, but he's fallen way down in the order, back into 18th place.
Looks like he might have missed the bus stop.
Definitely possible, as we'll take a look here at that. This was headed up the hill, as Norman there on the left-hand side of your screen having an issue, and I believe also now as our camera gets off, but yeah, he definitely went straight through. Let's see, this was a moment ago as well. Conover was holding tight up there in the top 10. Did he have an off track here? Wondering if this is just a false positive, going out a little bit too far there in that corner.
Yeah,
it's a typical place to get an off track, one of those easy 1Xs to do. And we also have Anthony Campbell once again. This time he's kind of all alone out there on the track, but I believe he had another incident. And he does slide sideways and comes to a rest. He gets that thing going again.
Get back on.
So back to the live picture, and back up front, Justin Michael still in charge. Brady Motes in second. Brian Smith in third. Nathan Finnegan now up into fourth. Cody Height has moved back into fifth. And again, Height, well, let's see here. Yeah, Height is one of only 2 drivers that has not yet made his pit stop, including Brady Motes, who's sitting in second place. So I'm not sure what to say about that. I guess everybody's going to have to make a second stop.
It's going to be very questionable on the guys that pitted under the stage. What they were able to do saving-wise, I really question whether or not the 87 can make it. Maybe he is hoping that enough cars will have to pit in this stage that he's able to just save fuel. I believe the 78 also hasn't pit yet. I believe he did stay out after the stage.
Well, if you can stay in the shadow, the air shadow of the car in front of the draft, you can save a lot of fuel here. It is possible to save quite a bit. So if you're in full, lift off early at the end of the straightaways mode, and you really try to do everything you could to save gas, maybe it's possible to save, an extra lap or 2 per stint. I mean, I unfortunately not with enough experience here in these cars on this track in this configuration to be able to stay here this time, but it is a possibility, as we're seeing that Nathan Finnegan is having some issues with his connection there. Brady Motes just holding on to second place over Brian Smith with 24 laps to go. Let's go ahead and take a look back once again at Justin Michael as he makes his way through the field on this restart. This was something else as he manages to go from basically restarting in the second row here all the way up into the front. Right on board with Justin, gets right up behind Brady, pulls to the inside, and Brady very early on the brakes. Justin not afraid to send it into the corner, and he takes clear control of the race right out of turn 1 on that restart.
And there's actually, if we stay here, there's just that little fraction of what might have been net code even between Brady and 78. And I'm not sure how the 78 will take that, because there's a good chance that might have been contact for him. Don't really know on it, but I also feel like Brady, speaking of Brady, locks it up down into 1. I do believe he could have done a better job to try to defend the inside through 1 on that restart, and I think he might have came out with the lead if he had done so, but he kind of opened the door for Michael to come on through, and once he did that, he gave up the preferred line through that corner. But Brady's still doing a great job here on his older tires, on a good show.
He's doing and I mean, Brady is equally a top 5 racer, whether we're talking oval racing or road course racing. So it depends on whether Brady can make all of the remaining races, but he certainly has the capability to make enough points. I mean, there's not quite enough races for him to probably catch up on points, so he's probably going to need a race win to punch his ticket into the playoffs, but we'll wait for him to finish out the rest of the races to make that declaration. But back here, some more great racing. We've got Cody Neal dicing it out with Mike Jennings. This is for 11th place on the track. Neal just following Jennings, and Jennings with a brand new livery on that machine for the Leukemia Research Foundation for Color City Racing, and it's great to see, Lymphoma Research Foundation on the side pod. We saw that on his Facebook page, so for those of you who aren't following Color City Racing on Facebook, it's a good time to look them up and get over there and check them out as well. But currently Cody Neal taking over that spot into 11th, and then just behind there's Ronnie Norman, who is going to have to recover from that earlier skippage of this bus stop chicane. Yeah,
and it's a fairly easy thing to do when you're in traffic. You just you're stuck in traffic. You're trying to find your braking point at the same time as you're trying to avoid
This is
contact with another car. Oh, we got a battle for the lead.
battle for the lead has developed. I don't know what's happened to Justin Michael, but Michael's slowing down significantly. Sorry to interrupt you, Nick. I just noticed that gap had dropped dramatically, and now Brian Smith, he'll move up into the top spot.
Oh, and you can see that Michael wants that crossover there, but he's not going to get it. Brian Smith putting on a great show here. He battled the two Toyotas up here at the front. They got a little something here going on today.
Indeed, and it looks like Smith just a full second faster that lap than Michael, and the only other driver in the 111 second bracket was Nathan Finnegan. Now we got them working through some lap traffic. That would be Sean Purcell, who's been having some incidents off and on here in this race. But Smith has got his mirror still filled with Justin Michael, and now you see Brady Motes has been able to close into this gap as well.
Yeah, they caught that lap car at the absolute worst possible time to catch a lap car when you have another car trying to run you back down. Certainly catching that car in the bus stop on entry to the bus stop is the 87 coming to pit road, and there's the confirmation I needed. He couldn't make it. He was never going to make it.
Justin Michael responding here, deciding with 20 laps to go, it's time to come in and take on a full tank of fuel and reset things. But that will give Brian Smith some breathing room now. That and I do wonder, did Michael like sort of make a last-second attempt to do some mad fuel saving in the efforts of being able to get a fuel number that he thought would actually help him to make it to the end? I mean, you know, I don't know. He had to have known ahead of time that he was going to come in on the stage caution or the lap before the stage caution. So either way, it's going to put him at a different strategy. Right now, we've got 3 different strategies going on. Those who came in a lap before the stage caution. We've got those who came in on the stage caution. And then we've got Brady Motes and Cody Height, who still have yet to make their pit stop, and they're still staying in the top 5. Here comes Brady.
Yep, coming right now. So, from what I know, I do not expect Brady to actually put tires on, as here comes Josh and Cody. So that tells me that with Josh pitting, it's pretty much an expectation that you are going to have to stop in this stage.
Well, Brian Smith going to continue. And sorry, what was that, Nick?
I was just saying, now Brian might be in a good spot because, as you can see, he's 6 seconds ahead of Finnegan. I don't know that he has to run this hard at all. He could absolutely lift and coast through a lot of corners. Give it the fuel save strategy. Run it in a higher gear than you really need to be in through the corner. All the different tips and tricks to get that thing to save that little extra bit of fuel. But the question is, how much does he need to save, and is it actually possible?
Well, he came in on lap 16. I mean, if they went, let me go back here. The restart was on lap 18. So, I mean, from my standpoint, if he goes flat out, there's no way that he makes it to the end based off of that, because you know, certainly when we're running 45 laps, I mean, he would have to do some kind of mad fuel saving. We're talking about saving 2 laps on the back half of this stage, and it only went green on 18. I'd have to look and see. You know, he came in on 16, so we're talking like 3 laps, the equivalent of fuel savings, and he's not doing that. He's running 1:11.64 out there. So he would have had to have saved to get that 3 laps. He would have had to have saved from the very beginning of this stage, and clearly he was trying to attack Justin Michael from the very beginning. So I'm just going to guess that he's doing the strategy of just go out there, go as fast as you can. Yeah, you're going to have to make another pit stop, but if you can keep turning out those 111s, don't worry about fuel savings, and the speed itself will just take care of everything.
Yeah, and that's not a bad strategy to have. Obviously, it can work. We'll have to see how it plays out in the long run, but it's certainly going to make for an interesting thing as Michael made it out in front of Brady. So that's where I will say, and it is still a close battle there between them. But
he did indeed, and that means that it's like a 1.5 second gap. You can see them there on your screen. This is back in 11th place. Just had these two battling for position. This is Vincent Loria and Justin Bissonnette, 4th and 5th position at the moment, battling it out for that spot. And just behind, you've got Brennan Gregg. Now, Bissonnette came in on lap number 12. So very much earlier than our stage caution, 2 laps earlier than our stage caution. So he is definitely going to have to make a pit stop before very long. And we take a look back just a little bit further forward. That's Brendan Jenks, who's now up into the 3rd spot. So he too is due for a pit stop. Finnegan coming in on lap 17. So a bit fresher fuel. Maybe Finnegan. He's running 1:13.29. I wonder if Finnegan is trying to do the mad fuel save.
That he might be, although he just turned out a 1:12.5.
Yeah.
And his last 2 laps were discounted because of I'm going to assume his blinking. His connection issue is causing a little bit of an issue there for iRacing. And
it is, and again, if you were going to try to do that, you would want to be like where Vincent Loria is right now on Brendan Jenks. You would want to get up behind, not make a pass. You'd want to start taking your foot out of the throttle if it's possible coming up this long straightaway. Take your foot completely out of the throttle. Coast through as much of these corners as possible, especially down into this corner as well. And just try to get through it. But as you can see, Vincent Loria now taking that position on the inside from Brendan Jenks. Runs it out quite wide, and another position swap a little bit further back. That's Cody Neal and Brennan Gregg as well. So Neal ahead of Gregg.
This is there's still a lot to dissect here as we continue on. Certainly, Brian Smith's doing what he needs to. Obviously, laying down as fast of a lap as he can and just trying to get in front. As actually, I do notice Jenks, Bissonnette, and Gregg all on pit road.
In fact, you're correct. There is Jenks, Bissonnette, and Gregg all making their way down this pit road here at Watkins Glen. Should be noted that it's a fairly simple pit in, pit out, but you could lose it at both sections. Very easy to come in a little too fast into the pits, and when you're leaving, you have to make a hard right-hand turn. Easy to kind of get it wrong and get it onto the grass, perhaps, because we see Brian Smith really hanging it out there. He was all the way out to the grass. I mean, that thing it's dancing coming through the corners. He is putting down some fantastic times. His best lap of the race was a 1:11.31. I'm just taking a casual look through. I would say that's probably the best in the whole field. So I think he has the fastest lap overall right now. His last lap, a 1:11.95. So he's only 0.6 off, and he's well into this stint. So very consistent running from Brian Smith. Fantastic race right now for the number 78. And is that how it's going to turn out in the long run? We're going to have to wait and find out. There's still quite a bit of racing to go here. Nathan Finnegan holding on to second place. Vincent Loria now up into third. Anthony Zoe mentioning Loria making his comeback for sure. Bam Boni-tastic saying car's done. Well, we're sorry to hear that, Bam Boni-tastic. And hopefully be able to get back out there next race. Stephen Dombrowski, welcome back to YouTube chat. So great to have you with us, my friend. As we watch on here to see what Brian Smith will turn in here on this lap. How about a 1:11.90? So still extremely consistent lap times And Nick, that's what it's all about. You know, you just got to
Yep.
stay as consistent as possible out there.
Yeah, you'll see even sometimes in races where the fastest car isn't the guy that ends up winning, because maybe the guy that's the fastest lap setter isn't running that lap time on a consistent basis. You know, maybe one lap he can run that lap time is,
Oh my goodness.
wow, just kind of utter disregard there for the lap car.
Well, that was Mike Jennings, and that was a extremely scary moment for Brian Smith. I think I'm pretty sure that he was expecting that he was just going to let Brian Smith go through. Let's see if we can. I'm not sure if this is the right timing here, but no, this would be a little bit earlier. Mike Jennings having a moment here a little bit earlier, but that was very scary for our leader, Brian Smith.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Oh, and there he goes sideways.
Waiting for an opportune moment to get it righted again, and there he gets it back going again. And later that lap, I believe, was the one where Brian Smith catches him on the straightaway. In fact, there he comes right there. So I don't know if it was damage on board or if he was just letting him by, but let's continue to watch this as he comes up the track here.
I think Mike's just running his line thinking that Brian's not going to get there in time, and just expecting to be able to run the bus stop as normal, because it really is primarily a one-line set of corners. And I think Brian just went in a bit harder than he really needed to, as somebody that's 14 seconds ahead of his next closest competition, which really also seeing that has me thinking more and more that Finnegan might be trying to conserve fuel here.
He may, you know, he did that one lap in the 112s. Now he's back to 130 or 113.66. So it is definitely possible that Finnegan is trying the fuel save strat, and I will have to find out. But maybe you can talk to that, Nick. You know, when you're so much, it doesn't matter oval or road course. When you're so much faster than everyone else, or you know, it's like maybe one or two drivers are on the bleeding edge of how fast the track is, and then everyone else is just kind of, you know, half a second slower per lap, maybe a second slower, and it can depend on where you're at in the tire cycle, etc. But it's kind of weird sometimes when you're in that position, because you come up on a slower driver, and sometimes it does seem like they're driving in slow motion.
Yeah, and so always though it is on the lead car, the car that is on the lead lap to make that pass cleanly. At least in NASCAR, you don't really utilize the blue flags like they do in Formula One, where it's like, hey, move over. We'll show them to you, but they're more of like a guideline, like, hey, there's a faster car behind you, just to let you know.
Right.
As Brian Smith is actually making his stop. I will say, when it comes to cars seeming like they're standing still in comparison to you, drive a prototype. Drive the prototype in an IMSA race against the GT cars, and it is incredible. I think our lap times at Daytona were 10 seconds faster than the GT3 cars. Like, it was absolutely like they're standing still in comparison.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
so much fun.
It is so much fun. I love doing endurance racing. I haven't been able to do much of it this season, but was doing it for quite a while with the team, and it's such a different sort of sport. I prefer, after a long time of trying to really enjoy the GT3 side of it, I would prefer to get back into the prototypes, to be honest with you. Making that decision to go around the traffic as opposed to just constantly looking in your mirror and hoping that you don't get wiped out by two prototypes that are racing it out for position. And, you know, I'm more than happy to be patient and let the GT3s battle it out. Here we could see Cody Deal getting Brian Smith jumping in front of him there as we go through that carousel and head down towards the final part of this lap. And Brian Smith wasting no time there. trying to reclaim that second position. And Nathan Finnegan still holding out there in the top spot. So we watch on to find out whether Finnegan is going to do the brilliant maneuver of being able to make it on fuel. But either way, do you think Brian Smith...
I think Brian can catch him.
He can probably catch him on time.
I think that the speed that Nathan needs to run to be able to conserve enough fuel to make it to the finish is going to be too slow in comparison to Brian. Now, that being said, that decision to try to save fuel could turn it into a podium for him.
Well,
that's the kind of advantage that could present, because you can see Brady and Josh back there. What you would imagine would be third and fourth if everybody pits. They're further back as spinner.
Tanner Dio having a moment. Let's take a look at what happened here. I think this is one where you go out wide and perhaps it sends you around. Yep. Just start cooking that right rear tire.
And then he touched the ice.
Yep. It's one of those, that corner right there, and you know this, Nick, it does not matter. You could drive an IndyCar, a prototype, NASCAR next gen machine, anything that you start getting the right rear a little hot in that machine, and that corner right there will spin you around faster than any other corner out there.
Absolutely, and you'll find that on every track that you go to. There's always a corner like that on the road racing. In fact, there's actually one that's even worse than that one at this racetrack, but we don't experience it in these cars. It is the left-hander coming out of the boot.
You're right.
So
You're absolutely
right. That corner
right.
is, that corner is right here, right there. You can actually see the rumble strips there. That corner is an absolute tough SOB of a corner. That corner will wring you dry and turn your race from you're going to win the 6 hours of the Glen in a prototype to, yay, we finished third.
Well, I completely agree with you. It's one of those ones you really have to slowly apply the throttle coming out of that corner, and just make sure that it's going to work out. I'm not sure who that was.
I believe that's Bissonette.
That did look like Bissonette, and he appeared to be completely stopped on the track there. He's just sitting there, and let's take a look at what happened to Justin Bissonette. This was...
I'm going to have to think on this that he got a little bit...
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
What a weird place to get loose. That's got to be a gear problem.
Yeah. It looks like the left front just completely locked up and turned hard left.
Let's see if we back that up and we take a look. And then he like disconnects for a second. So it's got to be an equipment. Yeah, it just
right there. It looks like it just locks. Yeah. Wow. That is a weird moment.
Well, that's really unfortunate for Bissonette, who was having a really good race, but he was finding himself back there in about 14th place. So
let's see what happens here to put him into that wall on the inside.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Okay, then.
Yeah.
Almost like it just didn't want to turn back to the left. That's an interesting...
Decided to bring it into the pits, but... We take a look at this fight as it's brewing here at the front, and Finnegan having some blinking out issues, but slowly tracking him down is Brian Smith, who is coming at about 1.3 seconds per lap, which should be enough for him to make a pass with a couple of laps to go, but we'll see. Finnegan, if he is on that mad fuel save strategy, first he's got to make it to the end, so he may or may not be able to make it to the end, but second, he just won't have, there'd be no way for him to defend against Brian Smith, who has all the tires and all of the fuel to utilize.
I would have to assume that, because it looked like Brian's stop was very quick. I don't believe he took tires. I don't think he needed a fuel tank or a full tank either when he pitted. So I which I think played out to his advantage there immensely to hold on to that position as...
Tim Harper. I wasn't sure.
No.
Harper had just come out of the pits. And I'm not sure.
Cold tires? I'm thinking cold tires. That's what, yeah. Oof.
Oh my goodness, and poor Vincent Laria goes slamming into him. Harper was quite a few laps down at that point, so he'll bring it back into the pits, and Laria sitting on pit road taking damage.
I was going to say, I think he, it looked like it popped. I'm pretty sure I saw that gray puff of smoke you never want to see.
Indeed. Well, this is it. Here's the catch, as they say in racing. Brian Smith now closes in on Nathan Finnegan, who is, it would appear by now that Finnegan is trying to make it on fuel, and he's going to try to not have to pit the rest of this race. Brian Smith, though, has already done what he needs to do, and he's about to try to make a move down on the inside, as we can see this battle going on up in front between several cars. And I think Smith going to use Jennings perhaps as a pick.
Well, certainly the most difficult thing here for Brian is it is incredibly hard to pass a car that is blinking. Connection issues is just one of those things that just really is hard to deal with.
Very difficult to predict, and a lot of times, and we're not seeing it here, but it's certainly on ovals where the speeds are faster and the prediction code has trouble keeping up, you'll see the car in front go up and like slam the wall and reset itself. You'll see all kinds of weird stuff. And here it's just
a big freak out. It's a big freak out at tracks like next week at Daytona.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a scary thing. As we're going to see the dive to the inside, but of course with the internet connection there, that is just difficult to really keep yourself in there, because at any point it could just netcode you around.
Exactly. It looks like there's a gap there, but then maybe he doesn't see you and you don't see him, and the netcode causes a collision.
It done.
Yeah, he does get it done, and Ryan Smith able to take over the lead once again. Could this be 2 in a row for Brian Smith and 3 on the Icon Cup Series season?
It's certainly looking like it.
I mean, it's definitely looking like it. He's not having any issues at the moment, but he did have a lap car incident not that long ago that could have cost him a lot more than it did. But Nathan Finnegan holding on to a strong second place, and he might be able to hold off Justin Michael, who's still 5.6 seconds back, and Michael's got the fastest lap times on the track right now, 1:11.52. So Finnegan may slide back into third, but again, that would be an awesome podium for Finnegan running that other strategy.
Yeah, and that's certainly, I think, would be
and
a
Finnegan
major...
has decided to pull it in. He just couldn't make it.
He couldn't make it. So that's going to be interesting, as Neil and Norman, I believe, have not pit yet either from their, as there goes Ronnie now into the pits.
Indeed, Ronnie going to make that pit stop. Cody Neal now up into third spot, and it's been an interesting run of it. A lot of different choices on pit stops. I mean, the top 3 totally different laps. Lap 35 for Brian Smith, lap 25 for Justin Michael, lap 17 for Cody Neal. So if that's where we end up with a podium, that's going to be something else. Here's Brady Motes back up into fourth now after some of these drivers making their pit stops.
And this is where it's going to get interesting for Brady. Brady is clicking off great lap times. Cody's still 1:13. Brady's got 2 laps to get this done, to get around him to get this podium. Well,
and dare I bring it up, look who is in 5th place. Mr.
Yeah, if
Mr.
there's any
no
contact between the 56 and 51, maybe talking to the other ready-to-wreck racer.
Well, Conover, in his interview, he was like, what? me get a top 5 here, I don't have any laps of practice. But I've said it with Christian so many times on broadcast, you just can't count this guy out, and you got to watch him through the race. As we do have the white flag out for Brian Smith, you know, watch Conover, because he is, I mean, anytime that he's feeling good behind the wheel, he's a potential race victor. But here tonight, without any real practice whatsoever, coming in at the last second, he and his new teammate over at Ready to Wreck Racing here in the Icon Series, and it looks like Finnegan having to come back again. So, oh, that really hurts, as he's going to drop out of the top 5 and now back out of the top 10. But Ready to Wreck Racing.
Brady's on his bumper. Brady is pressuring Neil here.
It is indeed, and here it is, Brian Smith. He's going to take 2 in a row here, 3 overall in the Icon Cup Series. Congratulations to him. What a fantastic run from Brian Smith across the line. Here comes Justin Michael for Average Joe Motorsports, and teammate to Brian Smith over at 313. He hangs on. Cody Neal from lap 17 there is your fuel save champion right there, taking a podium position, stretching that fuel tank farther than we thought was even possible. Brady Motes got to be shocked to get a 4th place, but also how close he was to getting a podium position. And Josh Conover settles for 5th. So 16 positions gained for Josh. And this is across the line. Brennan Gregg able to take the position from Ryan Patty for 6th place. Patty going to have to settle for 6th after that lap 1 problem that Vincent Loria had.
Yeah, that's a hell of a comeback there for Ryan.
Absolutely. Ronnie Norman stops on track there in 8th, and 9th will belong to Full Send Esports driver Cody Jinks. Cody Hyde on YouTube will get 10th place. Let's go ahead and bring up the final results, and then we will look forward to getting all of these drivers into our post-race discussion area. Stay tuned for just a moment, and we'll be right with the final results. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You saw it right here as Brian Smith able to take victory. What a fantastic run from him. And 313 Motorsports ends up getting 2 cars into podium territory. Brian Smith, the top 1. Justin Michael for Average Joe Motorsports taking 2nd place. And Cody Neal stealing that 3rd place with a fantastic run in fuel savings mode. We'll look forward to talking to all 3 of these drivers in our post-race discussion here coming up momentarily. Stick around for that. Brady Motes in 4th place. Fantastic debut here in the Icon Cup Series with his brand new teammate, Josh Conover. With no practice whatsoever, Josh brings it home at top 5. 6th place going to Brennan Gregg. 7th. Ryan Patty, who has a great recovery, back to 7th place. Ronnie Norman in 8th. Brendan Jenks in 9th place. Nathan Finnegan in 10th. What a sad turn of events for Finnegan. He thought he might be able to make it on that fuel save strategy, but sadly, not only did he have to bail out on that strategy, the same one that Cody Neal was on, but he also apparently had a speeding on pit road or something along those lines, had to bring him back in. But the 3 Collar City Racing teammates finish 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, it's for 10th, 11th, and 12th, with Adam Ball in 11th and Mike Jennings in 12th. Brock Kersey takes home 13th place. Cody Eldred in 14th. Hanover Fist in 15th place. Cody Hyde on YouTube, 16th tonight. Tanner Dio in 17th, Vincent Laria in 18th place, and finishing out the order, 19th to Sean Purcell, 20th to Kyle Gilbert, and 21st, Justin Bissonnette, 22nd, Anthony Campbell, Timothy Harper with all kinds of issues tonight, finishing in 23rd, and Jovi Ray, the final finisher, in 24th place. So with that, we're going to look to see if we can get some of these drivers into our post-race discussion area. And let's see if we can find Cody Neal, who I think needs to find his way into the booth. And hopefully we're not cutting into any teammate talking time. But Cody Neal, welcome to the post-race discussion area for the Icon Cup Series. And congratulations on taking a top 3. You managed to do it on fuel savings tonight, and the one guy that could do it with Finnegan not able to do it. Congratulations on scoring a podium.
Yeah, that was amazing, guys. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I was about halfway through that run, and I was almost considering just scrapping that idea, but I made it work, and I actually only netted 1 position after the stage break, so it was cool to get on the podium like that, but on to the next one.
Well, tell us about your race here tonight. What was it like out there? When did you make the decision you were going to go for the super fuel save strategy? And were tires an issue out there? What did you face?
So after the stage, I actually came back in and got topped off there, and that's what made it seem possible. You know, we could go 25 laps on fuel, and I think we only had 27 or 26 left in the race. So if I wouldn't have came back down pit road and topped off, I wouldn't have done it for sure. I was nowhere near that good to go, you know. But tires, they weren't too big of a factor, really. Well, it felt good out there.
And definitely, and it's got to feel great for you guys over at 313. I know Brian's been having a lot of great races and able to now take a couple of victories, but for yourself to share the podium there as well. You both were on 2 totally different strategies, so to get it done and both of you end up in the podium, that's some really fantastic stuff. But talk us through the last lap there with Brady Motes. You were under some real fire there at the end with Brady really catching you up. Did you feel the pressure? Was it difficult to hold him at bay, especially with that fuel saving strat that you were on?
Yeah, I was definitely feeling it. I knew I had to save about a half a lap to the good, because I knew somebody was probably going to be at my bumper the last lap or 2, and he was there. So if I wouldn't have saved an extra half a lap, he would have passed me for sure. But yeah.
Well, you managed to take Nathan Finnegan, and again, you didn't have to settle for 5th place or 4th place. You managed to make that fuel save strategy work. And Cody, another great finish here, and looks like you're going to add on to your points total. So looking pretty good heading into the playoffs. Anybody you'd like to thank for tonight's race before we move on to Justin?
Yeah, all the boys back at the shop at 313, you know, especially Vincent, you know, really clogging it up there in the restart. That was incredible. Napa know-how, they just get it done every week, it seems like. But yeah, appreciate you guys putting on the broadcast as always. We'll see you guys next week.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Congratulations, Cody. We'll see you next week, my friend.
All right, thank you.
So that is Cody Neal of 313 Motorsports, and he did a fantastic job. A big shout out over there also in our YouTube chat room to Steven Dombrowski. Always being there every race that we do, rooting on Storm and Norman to a top 5 here tonight, but unfortunately ends up in 8th place. And the Shawnee saying, you ever just break your left front, it doesn't get fixed when you pit, so you hit it in the exact same way later. Indeed, I'm not sure if that's Purcell or who that was checking in with us, but we appreciate it. And so we'll move on here, and let's see. going to see if Justin Michael is available. And it looks like Nick Geilis, you've had a chance to check up with Justin Michael, who climbs out of the 87 machine there in second place.
Yeah, Justin, you got a copy on us?
Yes, sir.
So, second place here today. You expect that coming in, or you a little confident with that car and think you could have went a little bit better? The strategy just didn't play out, or what we got here?
I'm just happy not to get wrecked for once. I don't know. We've ran, 10 races? I don't even know the count. And I think I finished one without an incident, so, I'm just happy to finish second. And we got to get a win to get into playoffs. It's simple as that. I can't point my way in. So this was, I like this track, but I also don't like this car. So it wasn't a good combination. Practiced a little bit today and different weather conditions, so actually it handled a lot better than what I expected. I don't know, if I'd have put in 4 or 5 hours of practice this week, we might have been able to stay up there in front. We were just trying some pit strategy just to try to leap 78 there. It worked, but just couldn't keep it behind us.
So it was just pit strategy, no attempt to try to use the caution to save fuel, try to turn that into the absolute mega fuel save strategy.
I thought about doing a 1 pit stop deal, but I knew that wasn't going to work. So I figured if I pit with 2 before the stage, I could come out ahead of the 78. That's about the only way I could get ahead of him with good tires. And like I said, it worked. And the restart was awesome. They would take the lead there in a turn 1. And but he was able to get back by, and about 4 laps later. So he's fast here, there's no doubt. We had him last week at Indy, but yellows didn't fall our way.
So with Daytona on the schedule next, little bit of a roulette table, if you will. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, basically, I don't like going to Vegas and playing money, so it's whatever. I'm sure Scott will be here. He couldn't make it tonight, so if we can get another guy or two to help, we are good at super speedways, but we need the cars, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, anybody you want to thank here?
You guys for calling a good race. We always go back and watch them, at least when until I wreck. But yeah, you guys always call a good race, and my team out there, Bandit Motorsports, we always appreciate them. Scott was sending me some texts there at the start of the race. He was out to dinner and he couldn't get away, unfortunately, so he couldn't be here. But he gave me some good tips and told me to just drive smooth. So we always appreciate him. And he also paints a good car. This is his car that he paints, and Patent Paints. Check that out.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on the second place finish.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was a pretty interesting strategy there from Justin. It's going to be interesting to see now if we can get Brian Smith up into the booth, wiping all of that confetti off of himself and just done with spraying some of that champagne. Brian, congratulations. You take another victory here in the Icon Cup Series. This was you were fast all race. You were not the fastest overall. Fastest was actually Justin Michael by just 2/100ths of a second. But you consistently were fast out there in the 111s. You were able to get by everybody, and you led a whole bunch of laps en route to victory. Congratulations. It must feel pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It does feel good. I had a feeling it would go pretty well. I think I said that last week on the broadcast, so I had to back it up.
Well, and you did back it up. You did 2 in a row here. It's been, now that's 3 wins overall out of the first 7. So obviously a lot of drivers going to be, well aware of where you're at on the track, and be a little more difficult for you to hide out. What was your race like out there? Did you feel like this was there any tire issues? Did you feel like any other issues other than, of course, your little bit of a run-in with a lap car there towards the end of the race?
Yeah, it started with prioritizing a qualifying lap. I had a feeling if I got out front at the start, it'd be hard to get by me. And I did not expect people to pit prior to the stage break. So that threw me for a loop. I think I came out 5th at the start of the stage break. And yeah, I had to be aggressive on that restart. And I think I came out of the first corner 3rd. So I was a little concerned if I was going to be able to get through there. But when those guys, I think Justin peeled off for pit road, I think I felt pretty confident I had it. And yeah, aside from a few lap cars not being aware of what was going on, it was pretty smooth sailing and easy pickings.
Well, you did end up challenging, Justin Michael there for the win, and you also had to get past Nathan Finnegan. And Finnegan, of course, later on having to pit not only once but twice for fuel. Was there a point where you said, I'm just going to go as fast as possible, I don't care, I'm not going to try to do a fuel save strat? When did your strategy become apparent to you, or was it something that you planned all along?
When I came off pit road at the end of the stage, I think I calculated we had 25 laps of fuel. So if I was going to slow it down and try and save fuel, I just didn't think that would make sense, and it didn't. I know that's what Cody did, and it worked out for him, so maybe it made sense if you were further in the field, but for me it was just push, and obviously it worked out.
Well, it was a fabulous drive, and this is becoming a regular thing here on VirtualRacing.Network to have you joining us here in the booth afterwards from Victory Circle. But who would you like to give a shout out to tonight for your victory?
I'd say you guys do a great job with the broadcast. Cody did an awesome job. I know he didn't have much practice throughout the week, and need to apologize for my teammate Vinny. I only could see what was going on in my rear view, but it looked like he killed the field on the start, so that's totally unacceptable, and we're going to have a talk with him after this. Maybe get him to practice some restarts in the warm-up or something. But other than that, yeah, great job by everyone else out there. The one restart we had was pretty clean, and yeah, it was a fun race. I love Watkins Glen. I love racing next gen on road courses, so it was a lot of fun.
Well, of course, we'll look forward to getting out there to more road courses next week coming up. Daytona, what's your thoughts?
I think it was. I'd have to look at the schedule. I think it was coming out of Richmond. I think I said I'd do really well at the next 3 races, and yeah, that's where I think that my doing well streak's probably going to come to an end, because I have no confidence in Daytona. I've got the worst luck. I feel like I'm cursed when it comes to restrictor plate racing. So hopefully one of my other teammates can get it done, because I'll probably be wrecked out, because that's just how it goes.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck. As you said, it's a bit of a crapshoot heading to these plate tracks, but either way, we'll look forward to it. Should be a lot of fun here on VirtualRacing.Network, and I hope you have a nice comfy seat and you got your favorite beverage and your popcorn ready, because these guys like Brian Smith are going to be working overtime up there drafting. Good luck to you guys over at 313 Motorsports. You're pretty much the class of the field here in Icon, and looking forward to seeing you guys continue to pull in the great results.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely my pleasure. That is Brian Smith, who takes victory yet again here in the Icon Cup Series, and I wonder how many times this season we're going to get a chance to say that. And, Nick, this has been an interesting race for sure. I hope everybody out there who was watching along really thought so as well. We enjoyed chatting with some of you over in the YouTube chat, but, in order to even chat in the YouTube chat, you got to subscribe. Would you believe it, Nick? Almost 50% of the people who watch these races aren't even subscribed to VirtualRacing.Network, and that means that they're missing out on some of the other great races that we've got, like the Nora Truck Series and the Nora Cup Series. Nora Truck is already in the playoffs, and that's pretty exciting, but the Nora Cup Series is just about to hit the playoffs as well, so definitely, if you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tick the little bell that says notify, and we'll make sure we get all of the future races delivered right there on your homepage and to your email box, so you won't miss any of them. And if you don't mind liking this video, it'll get out there to even more race fans so that they can discover these races here on VirtualRacing.Network. Nick, this was a lot of fun here at Watkins Glen. Your final thoughts on tonight and what we have to look forward to next week at Daytona. I know you know Daytona because you took victory there in Nora.
Yeah, tonight I think we saw exactly what we were expecting. Some good, hard-fought racing throughout the field, some beating and banging, and just excellent road course racing. And as for next week, I don't want to give too much away because I might want to try to steal another Daytona victory if I can. So we know I took the truck race back in the spring. I took the Cup race in the spring. Of course, that wasn't the same weekend as the truck race. We had a little issue there, but besides the point, swept the Daytona races for the spring. So we'll see if we can't get that job done over in Nora, but yeah,
I know
kind
what
of fun.
I heard. Ahead of time there were some rumors circulating that Brady Moats and Josh Conover were not the only two Nora drivers that were considering joining here. So stay tuned, everybody. There may be yet another new driver who has some race wins at Daytona in a Cup car under his belt, and Nick will of course look forward to that. But either way, thanks so much for joining us here in the booth, and hopefully we'll have Christian back here as well next week. And if there is that new driver in the field, that Christian will get to help call that race as well.
Absolutely. Well, I enjoyed being here, and thanks for having me. And yeah, I'll see you for when I get back in Victory Lane at Daytona, hopefully. But as for this,
well, I'll see you at Watkins Glen on Tuesday, as everyone else will here on the Nora Racing Network, VirtualRacing.Network, as well as the Icon Cup Series Network. And so thank you to everybody who joined us over on YouTube. Thanks to all of you who watch us, whether you watch us live or you watch us the next day, the next morning, overnight. I know I go back and I watch it a couple of times for my own reasons, but I certainly hope you've enjoyed this broadcast. As mentioned, please do subscribe, like this video, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your evening. Make sure to tune in on Tuesday night for even more Watkins Glen action. We'll be here with the Nora Cup Series. So on behalf of my co-commentator Nick Eilis, everybody in the Icon Cup Series, I hope you have a wonderful evening. We'll see you here on Tuesday. iRacing live on VirtualRacing.Network. Bye-bye, everybody.